we are basically building on what we did yesterday. I want you to draw two parallel lines. If L is parallel to M, the following is true. Alternate interior angles are congruent. Two, alternate exterior angles are congruent. Three, corresponding angles are congruent. Four, consecutive interior angles are supplementary. Gotta do a lot. Anytime you see two lines parallel and you see a transversal from this point on, you better know those facts. When they're parallel, basically there's two measures. And I'll show what I mean by that. What happens is you have basically this down here is a copy of this when it intersects it. If the two are what?
Parallel.
If they're parallel. That's only when the two are parallel. If the two aren't parallel, you don't necessarily know this is true. Okay? So it's very important we realize that all of this is true only when what? Two lines are parallel. Now, everybody look up here and put your pencils down. The reason this works out like this, first of all, what is 4's alternate interior angle? What is it congruent to?
5.
Nope.
6.
6, right? You may have numbered yours differently than mine. You might look to make sure. But angle 4 is congruent to angle what?
6.
Everybody see that? Alternate interior angles are what? Congruent. What other set of alternate interior angles are there?
There's 3 and 5.
5 and what?
3.
Now, if you stopped right there, what do I know 5's congruent to?
7.
Why?
Vertical angle.
Because they're vertical angles. What do I know 3's congruent to?
1.
Because they're what?
Vertical angles.
What do I know 6 is congruent to?
8
Because they're what?
vertical angles.
4 and 2.
In essence, that, look, alternate exterior angles are congruent. 7 is congruent to what? Works out, doesn't it? 8 is congruent to what?
2.
Corresponding angles are congruent. That would mean one top left would be congruent to top left. 1 is congruent to what?
5.
2 is congruent to what?
6.
3 is congruent to what?
7.
And 4 is congruent to what?
8.
Okay, here's where people have problems. Why do you think I wrote the last one in a different color? Why do you
That's
think?
always
important.
true.
No. The ones in black are the ones that are what?
Congruent.
The one in red's the one that's what?
Supplementary.
Ah. I was trying to let that stick out a little bit. Eyes up here, please. No writing. Look at 2 and 3. What do you know about 2 and 3?
They are.
What do they do?
They equal 180.
They equal 180. Okay. How about 3 and 4?
Equal
Equal
180.
180.
How about 4 and 1?
Same thing.
Equal 180.
How about 5 and 6?
Equal 180.
6 and 7?
Equal 180.
8 and 7?
Equal 180.
8 and 5?
Equal 180.
Are these two consecutive interior angles? So they add to what? Would you agree?
Yes.
So wouldn't these two add to what?
180.
Now, in essence, if they're opposite each other in some way, what are they?
Vertical angles.
Well, they're congruent. See how 4 is the opposite side, 6 is over here? If they're beside or on top of each, directly beside or directly on top of each other, what do?
They're opposites.
They add to.
180.
Think about it, okay? If they're directly beside each other, like 3 is directly next to 2 and what?
6.
What does 3 and 2 add up to?
180.
What does 3 and 6 add up to?
180.
4 is directly beside 1. Do they add to 180?
Yes.
And it's directly beside what?
5.
5.
Does it add to 180?
Yes.
Directly beside 3. Does it add to 180?
Yes.
Which of the ones it's congruent to? The one that's what? Opposite side, right? You see what I'm saying? So basically, when you look at this picture, they're directly beside or on top of each other. What do?
Add the 180.
Add to 180. If they're kind of opposite each other, what are they?
Congruent.
Easy peasy. So, measure of angle 4 was 30 degrees. Can you guys tell me the rest?
Yeah.
What's the measure of angle 3?
150.
50.
What's then the measure of angle 6?
30.
What's the measure of angle 5?
150.
What's the measure of angle 8?
30.
What's the measure of angle 7?
150.
What's the measure of angle 2?
30.
What's the measure of angle 1?
150.
See how it works out?
Mhm.
There's only 2 measures there for all 8 of them. That's neat, huh?
Yeah.
So confused.
Yes, ma'am?
How'd you figure out 30?
I just guessed. I said, if this is, no, I didn't say, if you measured that, you wouldn't get 30. I just said, okay, what if we said this was 30? So you only need one of the 8 to find all of them if they're what?
Parallel.
If they're not, if they don't tell you they're parallel, can you just assume that?
No.
Just because they look like they're parallel? No. Because there may be some problems where they don't tell you these two are parallel. Okay, here's the thing. That everybody is golden with that usually. That's pretty easy, huh? You know where people have problems? I'll show you.
Do we need to draw that too?
Maybe here shortly.
Hashtag. Oh my god.
Hashtag parallel lines. That tells you how old I'm getting. I would have never thought of hashtag. That's a number sign to me, but
It's not that you're old, you're also a math teacher.
thanks. That's awful nice.
Probably.
You get 100% on the next test.
Yes.
Just
Oh, dang it. I'm
I'm
probably gonna
hoping though
fail
that you'll
it
learn
too.
that 100%.
Hopefully.
No, I'm
Probably
giving you
another
that.
Coach, I'll give you
75.
100%.
Give me $20 for it.
I'll give you 100%.
I'll give you
Here's the
$100.
problem we have here.
100%.
It can get confusing. Figuring out which one is the transversal and which one are the parallel lines.
Oh, perfect.
You see what I'm saying?
It doesn't matter.
Like I can pick, in this case, because both sets are parallel, it really doesn't matter. But I can start here. Let's start and make that the transversal. Well, that makes these two the parallel line, right? So that means I need to ignore everything down here as far as, you know, things being congruent. I can only deal with one transversal and two sets of parallel lines at a time. So let's see what we know. First of all, so which one are the alternate interior angles? Can you do it this way, or do I need to turn it like this?
Something like that.
And you guys are very capable of turning your books that way too, aren't you? Okay, what are my alternate interior angles? Tell me. 7's congruent to what?
That's hard to read.
3?
I can't see the red.
Yeah.
2 is congruent to 6.
Everybody with me? 7 is congruent to 3.
And 1.
And, no, I'm not there yet. And 2 is congruent to what?
6.
6 is
What is 7 congruent to?
1.
What is 2 congruent to?
8.
Now you got them all set, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what those two being parallel tells you, right?
Yep.
That's all that tells you, though. Now, let's say you wanted to come over here and you wanted to talk about this being your transversal. Or how about we turn it like this? Since this is parallel to this, let's make this my transversal. Okay? And make these two my parallel lines. So what do I know now? Which one are my two alternate interior angles now?
8.
What do you need to ignore? We're not talking about this transversal, right? So ignore it.
7 and 9, 8 and 10.
When you look at it one at a time, it's not so bad, is it? But it can get confusing. 7's congruent to what? 8's congruent to what?
10.
9's congruent to what?
16.
10's congruent to what?
16.
There we go. Well, let's turn it like this now. And now let's make this our transversal. So we're going to completely ignore this one now, right? Everyone agree?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this is congruent to, what's the alternate interior angle to 10?
13.
No?
14.
Oh, 14.
Look at the inside. They're closer together now, aren't they? What's the alternate interior angle to 15?
11.
What's 11 congruent to?
13.
What's 14 congruent to?
12.
You see how it can become more complicated when you're dealing with so many different pairs of transversals and parallel lines. Sometimes they'll give you a picture like this and just say that these two are congruent, or just say these two are congruent. And it may look like these are congruent, but if they don't tell you, can you assume it?
No.
No. Okay? You're going to have to label your pictures. You're going to have to look at it and see what it gives you. You know, wouldn't you imagine that they're probably going to give you and say, hey, this is 2x plus 3. This is 5x minus 5. What's x equal to? How would I do that problem?
180. They equal 180.
Are they right? Are they beside or on top of each other?
Oh.
They're right beside each other, right? So what do? They add 2.
180.
So my equation is what?
This is like I'm dumb.
2x plus 3 plus what?
180.
5x minus 5 is equal to
180.
what?
180.
Now it's just solving the equation.
Does that come out evenly?
Probably not.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, it does.
Is it really?
Can you
Yeah.
get paper over?
I didn't know.
So it's going to be
Wow, it does
26.
come out even.
26, right?
How
Wait, what is it?
Yeah.
You didn't notice.
I guess I did. Super smart.
You guys understand that? Kenny, what do you think, bub?
Sure.
Where did you equate
You were wrong, Rachel.
it? What? No, I wasn't. Are you freaking down?
We all right?
Coach, so did you just put the equations in there? X equals 180.
Well, however, if over here they gave you that this was 2y and this was 3y plus 4, what's y equal to?
180.
Or let's make this 4y. Find y. What do I know about how 8 and 10 relate to each other?
They equal 180.
They're-
Why would they equal 180?
No,
Tell
they
me why.
don't.
Are they directly beside or on top of each other?
No,
No.
Wrong. You can't guess.
they don't equal.
Well, I mean, seriously, just ask yourself that, you know, is there something in between 8 and 10? Yeah, what's directly in between it? 9. They're alternate interior angles, so what are they? Are they congruent? So what's equal to what? Tell me my equation.
8 is equal to 10.
No, or measure of
Yes.
angle 8 is equal to the measure of angle 10, correct. What is the measure of angle 8? What did I say it was?
Yeah,
Should equal, what's the measure of angle 10?
3y plus 3y plus 4.
Oh, yeah.
What do I do?
Subtract 3y from this side and get y equals 4.
That's all you do, right?
That's pretty easy.
But, what are you gonna have to figure out? Are they equal, or do they add to
Hold
180,
on,
right?
those measures that you have, are those just like given?
Yeah, that was
Like,
given to you.
okay,
I'm just making up problems.
okay.
You know, because they're gonna give you problems where they'll say, hey, measure of angle 10 is 3y plus 4. The measure of angle 8 is what? 4y. Find y. You have to figure out how does 8 relate to what? 10, before you can write an equation. And what did we say? Because they're alternate interior angles, measure of angle 8 is what? Equal to the measure of angle 10. Therefore, you plug that in and you solve. Yes, ma'am.
Well, like, how did you, like, add them together, like, on the first one you did?
Well, because here, these are consecutive interior angles. They're directly on top of each other. So if you look at your picture, when they're directly on top of each other, what do we know about them?
They're supplemental.
They add to 180. So in this case, the two that were given to you were equal. In this case, the two things that were given to you, how do they relate to each other? They add to what?
180.
So my equations were different, right?
Yes.
What I'm trying to tell you is you're either going to have one situation, either where the two are what? Equal, or when the two add to 180.